In this video, you will learn how to sell as a freelancer without being a sleazy salesman. Hey, this is Zach from W Freelancing, and in this video, we're going to talk all about sales and how to approach the sales process without feeling sleazy or like you're taking advantage of people or, just feeling like, oh, I freaking hate it. Originally, I wanted to call this something like a tongue twister. We changed it, but I'm going to try to say it right now. Sleaze-Free sales strategy. No, I can't do it. Sleaze-Free sales strategies for savvy freelancers. There's no S word for freelancers. Is there? No, there's not. So anyway, this is really important because if you approach sales in what I would call the right way, you can still close a bunch of deals and get the numbers that you need to get to run a profitable business, but you can do it in a way that feels really good for the client, feels really good for you, and basically have the best of both worlds. I think a lot of freelancers think that in order to do sales, you have to become that slimy, sleazy salesperson, and it's just not true, at least not in my experience. So I'll walk you through my whole process in this video. And FYI for you, the video you're about to watch came from our just released W Rates Toolkit, which is a collection of AI prompts, automations, training, templates, scripts, a bunch of cool stuff to basically help you get more clients, raise your rates in the quickest way possible. So if you want to check that out, you can find it at dyf.link/DYRT. And for now, let's jump into the video. I think most of us hate the idea of sales because we feel like we have to show up and convince someone to do something, or we have to show up and pressure someone, or show up and, just perform, get some kind of outcome. But I found, at least for me, if I just show up knowing that I'm going to learn about this person and find opportunities to help, find opportunities to solve their problems, do some essentially, quote, free consulting, making recommendations on the low-hanging fruit, and just doing my best to help this person reach their goals, solve the pain. It kind of removes the pressure, not feeling like I have to get them to do anything, just coming at it like I'm going to use my skills and experience to help how I can. And if I can't, then I'll tell them I can't. I don't know. It's still inherently scary, but it at least lowers the insane fear that comes along with it. So that's my personal process. I'm also a big advocate for showing up as you are. I think another reason people get scared of sales is they feel like they have to be an expert or be a guru or be some specific type of person that they're not. And if you're in the W Rates Toolkit Plus thing and you watch me on the sales call, I think this one with Eric is a really good example of me being really honest about the things that I'm not an expert about, but still being generally an expert in the topic we're talking about, being authoritative, and also having a lot of personality. I embarrassed myself with some bad jokes. You can be a human, you can be just as you are, you can be a beginner, you can be doing something for the first time and still do well. So I think don't feel like you have to be anything else. Start from where you are, show up and help, and you'll do fine. So everything that I do, it's basically layering persuasion and strategy and sensible structure on top of these fundamentals. I heard it once that sales essentially boils down to making someone offer that they'd feel stupid saying no to. And I think that's a really good way to put it. Show up, try to help, make an offer that they'd feel stupid saying no to, and that's it. That's all you do. All of the turbocharging stuff that we did in the previous section, it essentially gives you the ammunition, or maybe something less fight style. What would it be if we're not doing a fight? Let me pause and think about it. I don't have anything good. All the tools you need to show up and make that offer that they would feel stupid saying no to. If you are able to attach your services to an ROI and say, hey, there's this big problem, we're going to solve it. It's going to save you all this money. It's going to make you all this money. It's going to save you all this time. And I can just take that off your plate and do it on autopilot. You're going to make $1 million and spend $10,000. Does that sound cool to you? You would feel dumb saying no to that if it felt like it was guaranteed. And that's all you got to do. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do with the template that we'll be creating together. Last little foundational component here is this concept of being a fiduciary. So in the financial advice world, there are what are called fee-only advisors. So back in the day, financial advisors would often get paid a kickback percentage by different insurance companies or stocks or whatever. And so you wouldn't actually know if this financial advisor has your best interest at heart or if they're just getting paid the highest commission from this thing they're recommending. So these fee-only advisors They do not get paid any kickbacks. They only get paid by whatever you pay them. And what that means is that they're a fiduciary, and they're making recommendations that are best for you without being concerned about what's best for them. And I like to think about this on sales calls and stuff too, like aiming to always be a fiduciary for potential people I'm talking to, where I am making recommendations that are solely coming from what's best for them and finding a way to align that with what's best for me. Whereas what you experience a lot as you're out in the world is a lot of people are only looking out for themselves. And the recommendations they make are mostly about what is best for them. And they're trying to get you to do something that maybe isn't actually great for you, but it's great for them. If you can be this fiduciary just trying to help people and finding a way that that aligns with your own needs and benefits and profitable business and all that stuff, you're going to build really, really strong relationships. You're going to build a lot of trust, and you're going to just live a happy life. You're not going to feel like a piece of crap when you try to fall asleep at night. So the way I kind of see these sales calls is almost like as a process of interviewing the person to see if they meet all of those little bullet points I laid out in the ideal client profile in the turbocharging section to find out if I can get a no-brainer ROI for them. And if I can't, I tell them I can't. That might mean pointing to them to some other like resource instead of me, pointing them to someone cheaper, offering like a done with you service instead of a done for you service. But most of all, just letting them know, I don't want to work with you if I can't have it be a no-brainer awesome win for you. And when you get into a situation where you make a choice or you say something that clearly benefits only them and not you at all, that's when you really build that trust. But most importantly here, I've talked a lot about, doing what's right for them and stuff. It is also about advocating for yourself or making the recommendation of your services if your services are what's best for them. If you talk to them, you interview them, you see, oh, they are my ideal client profile. If I did this work for them, they would stand to probably get a 10x ROI. They'd spend a few $1,000s on me and make 30, 50, 100, a bajillion dollars. It would be like, as the fiduciary, you have to tell them to hire you because that is what's best for them. And so that's kind of the closing part. So in sales, there's this idea of closing where you essentially ask for the sale. And it's the scariest, hardest part of closing because it's the part where, it feels like everything's riding on it. Even after all these years, I'm still not super duper uber, super fun, just flow on into the closing part. But the way to look at that closing stage is essentially just, what are your recommended next steps? And that's it. If those recommended next steps are hiring you because it clearly, according to the numbers, is the best deal that's going to provide an ROI, you tell them that. If it's something else, then you tell them that. But basically just positioning, here is what I think you should do as the next steps. Here's what I'm recommending as this fiduciary after interviewing you. Knowing about the technical craft, knowing about the market, stuff like that. This is what I think makes the most sense to solve your problem, help you get to your goals, that kind of thing. So with all that being said, I want to share this little Sleaze-Free sales mantra and ask you, if you lived by this following mantra, would you hate the idea of sales? Because most freelancers do. But I think with everything I've laid out here and with this mantra, maybe most wouldn't. I think that what most freelancers hate is the idea of having to be sleazy and convince people of things, or having to learn all this persuasive, manipulative, that's the word, stuff. So what if you lived by this? I'm looking at my screen. I am going to show up accepting myself exactly as I am. I'm only here to help. I don't need anything from this call. It doesn't matter if they buy, it doesn't matter if they're a good fit. My only KPI for it to be a success is, did I genuinely try to help? I'm going to ask this person pre-planned questions to learn about their pains and goals in their business. If I find valuable problems that I can help solve, I'm going to offer to solve them. If I don't, then it's no worries and the call was still a success because I showed up and I tried to help. We made a little cheat sheet resource thingy of that mantra because I think it's really important to keep in mind. So if you think remembering this, reading it before you go on a call, whatever, will be helpful for you, be sure to download it. But that's my question for you is I'm not expecting you to go into sales thinking it's not scary, because it will be. It's something that you're new to. But can you live with yourself if that's your mantra? Can you hate it less if that's your mantra? Let me know. Send me an email because I'm genuinely curious. I don't know if this is just a bunch of BS or if this will resonate with you. So please do tell me. And at this point, I feel like you have the whole framework for sleaze-free sales. A couple things I want to leave you with before we move on to your 6-figure sales call template and get you the scorecard and stuff. First one is remember when doing sales and when talking to leads on the phone and stuff, remember that not every lead is created equal. This is especially true in a platform like Upwork, but it's true in general too. But Upwork, a lot of people go to with lower budgets who are getting started. But at the same time, a lot of really advanced people with higher budgets go to Upwork. So it really does vary. But in general, Upwork is where you go for commoditized work. And commoditized work means you don't want to pay so much for it. The thing I want you to keep in mind, though, is that if you happen to get a streak of talking to a lot of people who are running smaller, more entry-level businesses, be careful to not make assessments about the market in general based on things that are specific to these handful of people. So, for example, I do conversion rate optimization where I get more people to join people's email lists. If I do that for somebody who gets 500 visitors to their website a month, even if I do so well, the best work I've ever done, and now their website converts 10% of their visitors, whereas before it converted 0.5%, which I've never gotten a client's website to 10%, by the way. But let's just pretend I did. They still wouldn't get an ROI. They wouldn't pay off the work that I did for them. The leads wouldn't be worth enough to pay this Zach dude thousands of dollars to do the work. But imagine I did that for Amazon or something. If I did that work for Amazon and bumped their conversion rates by that much, that would be literally billions of dollars a year. So it's not that people in general don't value my services. It's not that there are no good clients out there. Nobody wants to pay enough money. It's just that if I'm talking to people who are getting 500 visitors a month, I'm not going to be able to get an ROI. And this is why it's so important to define in advance, which we did in the turbocharging module, define in advance what those things are that define your ideal client profile, and think about where you can find them. If you are going on platforms like Upwork, you get the advantage of having access to a pool of leads, but the disadvantage of the commoditization and competitiveness. Whereas if you're doing something like cold outreach or paid ads or something where you can actually target people and be strategic, you can ask yourself, where could I find the person who meets this? Is there a community that I could join? Is there a certain targeting metric on Facebook or whatever? How could I actually get in front of this person? So just remember that. And then the other thing that I want to leave you with is just a reminder of what all this stuff that we're talking about in the sales flow comes down to. So if we look at my screen, this is where we are now. This is where we are in the sales process. So essentially, somebody wants to talk a bit further. The goal, see if you can help, close the deal, send a proposal. Objections to overcome. How will this get me to my goals? How will it solve viable problems? How will it bring an ROI? That's all we got to do right now, which I know, tall order, because that's a lot of stuff. But I just want you to remember, that's the phase we're in. That's what we got to do. So hopefully that was helpful for you. I would love if you could leave a comment below if there are any insights you had or any things that kind of were aha moments for you about how you've been approaching sales or what you could tweak moving forward. And as a reminder, if you want to check out the W Rates Toolkit, you can do that at dyf.link/DYRT. Thanks for being here and see you in the next video.